What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back with
Gersh1.
And today we're going to be answering your questions in another For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what Digital Sigma did. He asks, besides the Emperor or a Primarch coming back, what sort of big event would you like to see happen in the 40k universe in the future? That is a good question.
That is, yeah. There's so many huge, revelations that we've known, and there's other little inklings that, we haven't really explored too much.
Yeah.
But I think my top three in this order would be, one, the realization that the Emperor is not a god, that he's just a dude, a perpetual on the throne, and what backlash that would bring to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the coming of the old ones back into the universe. I think that really is going to shake up a lot of things, and it'd be interesting to see how the different factions either ally or fight against this new, threat.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I really want to see above all else is the war in heaven. Get us a novel, a video game, anything that shows us intricate details, little skirmishes, and overall the grand epic that is the war in heaven.
Yeah, I agree. When you take away the Primarchs, when you take away the Emperor, whatever big event could happen to the 40k universe, it has to be tied to the old ones.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the old one lore and the War in Heaven lore is probably one of the juiciest and most mysterious.
Yeah.
And having an old one return to the galaxy and having a whole nother faction of lizardmen or whatever GW wants them to be would be awesome.
Right. Because we've seen the Blackstone Fortress, those War of the World looking things.
Yeah.
Those are constructs created by the old ones.
Yep.
So it's is that what their type of race looks like? Is there something piloting them? What is it?
Yeah, it would be really cool if the old ones came back and it was a very Cthulhu feeling return. I would not like the old ones to come back and then have them be the Silent King. I'm not saying the Silent King coming back is a letdown. It's just that I really don't. I thought that the Silent King, in my mind, I painted him as the hero, the hero of the Necron race. So when we actually got him as a model and we saw his stats and we just saw, I was okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I would like to see a big awesome entity that is an old one and very Cthulhu-ish would be kind of cool.
Yeah, because right now the 40k model range has some big models, but just imagine putting on this huge Titan-sized model in your regular 40k games.
Yeah.
That's super strong, but the downside is maybe he can't move, or for being that massive of a size, it's just gonna be a freaking bullet magnet.
Yeah, but making him tough enough to take on all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And also the lore behind him coming back would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I've noticed about Games Workshop is they have been paying attention to a lot of Xeno races. They've been doing it because we got God School, so that was nice. Mm-hmm. We got the Silent King, that was nice. We got the Birth of a God with Ennead, so that was nice.
Right, but it's just drowned out over Primaris.
Yeah. So as a Xeno player, you feel like you're taking a back seat, but that's because at the forefront, GW is just throwing out Primaris, Space Marines, Imperial Guard, blah, blah, blah. But we are getting slightly more attention, at least this edition. Maybe next edition would be a little bit better too.
Because I remember it'd be years, maybe even decades between Xeno massive releases.
Mm-hmm.
And at least now with the Psychic Awakening stuff, it's almost every month.
Yeah, but to answer the question, definitely I think the return of the old ones and having that Xeno race that's playable on the tabletop would be nice.
Yeah, if you're talking about current events, yes, the old one's returning. If it's something more in-depth from the past, War in Heaven.
Yeah.
Good question. What about you guys? What event do you guys want to see in your 40k lore?
Yes. Next question comes from Zach Leclerc. Are the Star Child and the Emperor actually the same being? Since the Imperium worships the Emperor, is that energy feeding into the Emperor himself, or is it feeding a new being that is manifesting in the warp in the form of the Emperor? And that's like the magic question that we don't really know an answer to. And from what I'm seeing, and we actually created a 40 facts video on this. I think it's just titled like proof that the Emperor is becoming a god. I really do think that they are two separate entities. So you have the Throne Emperor, or the Corpse Emperor, however you want to call it, and then you have the god of
Order.
Yeah, maybe God of Order, even though it is like he would still be a chaos god. So it's like a chaos god of order, that kind of
hypocrisy.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think there's two, and I definitely do think that he is manifesting in the warp.
Yeah, at least that's what it seems to, like, the hints be pushing it that way.
Yeah.
Do you think his perpetual abilities are to blame because of that?
I think the perpetual ability is the reason why he hasn't died. Because I do feel that if he were to just outright die, Games Workshop would bring him back, because obviously he's a perpetual.
Right.
But because of the fact that like he's dying and he's in the process of dying, the fact that he's a perpetual just keeps him like regenerating slowly. Think of like a really shitty Wolverine who is getting destroyed every day, little by little, and the regeneration just makes it so that it's stagnant the entire time. But yeah.
Interesting.
What do you think? Is it that's the Emperor in the warp or the Emperor on the throne?
The way I see it is that the Emperor on the throne should be the true Emperor. Whatever is coalescing in the warp is vast and like it's hard to understand and comprehend, and I feel like something coalescing in that type of environment isn't going to be good.
Yeah. And I actually agree a little bit because of the fact that we're starting to see that Games Workshop is trying to split the Imperium into. So you have the Imperium Secundus, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And then you have the rest of the Imperium. And I think to add to that schism would be like now you have a Corpse Emperor and now you have an actual entity that is claiming to be the Emperor, but obviously it is a chaos god or chaos entity. So then the Inquisition has to like make the decision. Like, are you going to be a Puritan and hold to protecting the Emperor that's on Terra, or protect this entity that's in the warp? Next question.
Everyday cartographer. If Call would go through with using Traitor Gene Seed, such as the Night Lords, how does he plan on keeping that a secret? How would they operate amongst the Imperium, and would they be forced to work in the shadows? So, Belisarius Call is known to work in very near heretical, if not full-on heretical ways. If you go back and just read everything that he's done so far, it can be seen as heresy. Him working on the Primaris Marines is heretical in itself because he's tampering and just changing the Space Marine gene seed, which was created by the Emperor himself. So to alter something that the Emperor created is heretical just in and of itself.
Yeah.
So him using Traitor Gene Seed, that's not beyond him. I could clearly see him doing that. And I think it's also kind of hinted that that's what he's done with the Primaris that are of quote-unquote unknown origins. They're just Traitor Gene Seed Primaris.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. And are these Primaris working in the shadows? No. They just said that it's unknown where their origins come from. Their progenitors, for that matter.
This one comes from Joseph Breeden. How does one get as cool as the Sound Alchemist?
You get maybe 4 or 5 ice cubes, put them in your mouth, chew it up until it's all grainy, and just leave it there until it dissolves, and then you'll be cool.
Ooh.
By that point, I'm pretty sure your balls would have already been fused into your body, so that's how homeostasis works. Yeah, at least that's what I've been told.
It would hurt your teeth, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of chewing.
It is.
Next question.
This one's by Corey Black. It's not 40k related. Oh, but yes it is. But why are there a pair of shoes sitting on your printer in the background? And could you show them? Yeah, they're still kind of there.
Yeah, they're behind me. So like the a friend paints shoes, and during the quarantine, he had extra time on his hands. So he painted a Greater WAAAGH shoe for us. I always wear black Air Forces, so he got some black Air Forces, and he painted an Orc and a Space Marine. It's an Ultramarine, and just like a regular, it looks like a Goth Orc, and just says, for the Greater WAAAGH. He should have painted a Tau, but we forgive him.
It's blue. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Maybe when I start wearing black Tims, then he could do the Tau.
Yeah, there you go.
Black Tim and Black Forces, watch out. And start wearing Yankees with no brim.
There you go. Next question comes from Zadrigo. How come you read so many questions from Ty Shingleton? I feel like we get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
So why do you keep asking that question? Yeah, I mean, Ty Shingleton usually gets his videos thumbs up. So it goes to the questions. There you go. Gets thumbed up. So then it goes to the very top. Tippity top.
Yeah, because I know it's Ty Shingleton, Te Mandela Bird, DeFool06, Brian B. Those guys get pushed up there a lot.
And some of them isn't even because they're getting pushed to the top. It's because they spam questions, true. Which, if you do it, if you think that works. Even though I haven't heard from Te Mandela Bird a while back, or for a while now. So maybe he did get marked as a spammer. Right.
Or maybe... the Rona.
Maybe. Stay safe, guys.
Alistair Smith, his question is simple. Coke or Pepsi?
It depends. If I am in the U.S., it's Coke. If I am in Mexico, Pepsi.
Interesting. I would have thought it would have been flipped. But yeah, if I'm thirsty, Pepsi, because how do you drink Coke?
Oh, well, I mean, you could always do a pre-workout where you grab the Coke, put it in water, mix it around, and drink it. Even though you probably won't get any effect from that.
That dilutes it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're throwing away Coke. Next question.
Mix it.
Mix it.
Dr. Pibb.
Shove it up your...
Whoa. This one's by Tambo Track. How many Eldar are left if they've been going extinct for 11,000 years? And how can they still throw thousands upon thousands of Guardian Warriors and Wraith Guards at other factions?
Well, a lot of Wraith Guards are constructs.
Yeah.
They're not actual Eldar.
If anything, there should be a lot of Wraith Guards because they use the souls of the dead to power them.
Yeah, and nobody really... Well, if your soul normally goes into the Spirit Stone, and the Spirit Stone goes into the Infinity Circuit, and like you said, they're calling upon those ancestors, so you don't really die if you're an Eldar.
Right. A lot of the Wraith constructs is exactly that. The Ghost Warriors, so to speak.
Yeah. But you also have to remember that there are paths. So, we see, or the Imperium sees, the ones that are following the path of the warrior. Obviously, there are still a bunch of other people within the craft world who, once they're done with their path, they move on to another one. Right. Check out our 40 facts on the paths of the Eldari, because they get pretty, basic, I guess. I was going to say intense, but, there's janitors, there's, people who sing.
Right.
So think of it, whatever career is around in real life, that's what, you can follow that path.
But these Eldar are super dedicated, so they want to be the best janitor. Yeah. They want to be the best singer. They want to be the best that ever was.
Oh.
To train them was their cause.
There you go.
Each spirit stone to understand the power that's inside.
Also, though, keep in mind that they are a dying race because it takes them a while to procreate. It doesn't mean that they can't.
Right. At first I thought they were a dying race because of all their tie-dye shirts. It's like, where are you getting them colors? Are you dyeing them? Turns out that it was just in their craft world.
Next question comes from Danny Keene. Is there any evidence of orders having any power in the warp in 40k lore? Having any powers in the warp. And evidence of order. What is order?
So I guess he's asking, is there order in the warp?
Oh, there's sections of the warp called the Ash Wastes that are not as chaotic, and they are not controlled by any of the Chaos Gods, and they're not being fought over by any of the Chaos Gods. So I think that's the closest thing to order.
Right. Because even within the domains of chaos, chaos.
Yeah.
Because like you have like what is it, Zeech's Spire? Labyrinth. And even though like with the labyrinth, it's like, oh, you have like walls and like there's a certain path. No, this thing's like shifting all the time.
Yep. Think of like a dream, but worse.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
Goblin Man. Would Bridget B have a successful career in the Imperium?
Yeah. I think because the Imperium is so totalitarian and like monopolies form very easily, I think she would be like the cream of the crop even after she has like been augmented and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because when like you're working like 20 hours a day, it's like you need that little escapism.
Mm-hmm. And in her situation, it's escaping into her.
Hey.
Next question.
Benjamin Manning. Excluding Magnus El Rojo, which Primarch is the most powerful Psyker? I mean, he was the one that's like most out there with his psychic abilities, but I think it's said that every Primarch has a little bit of Psyker in him.
Yeah, I would say Lorgar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think it's like Lorgar, then maybe Perturabo, maybe Fulgrim. That's about it.
Yeah, Mortarion didn't like the fact that he was a Psyker, but...
Oh, yeah, Mortarion.
But he was still pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's the reason Mortarion was chosen to be the first to attack Terra, right? Because the Emperor had, like, the whole psychic protection over the palace.
Right. He was like, no gusta.
No me gusta. Next question comes from Colonel Kablooey.
Colonel Kablooey?
Yeah. That reminds me of the old Nickelodeon TV show Kablam, remember? That was a good TV show. His question is, could Autism Cat survive the 40k universe? I don't know who Autism Cat is.
No. I know who Nyan Cat is, and I know who Cinderblock is. You remember Cinderblock?
Is that an X-Men?
It could be. It was like an obese cat, and that was like the cat's name.
Oh, Cinderblock?
Yeah, because she looked, the cat looked like a Cinderblock.
I also remember the mean cat.
Angry Cat?
Angry Cat, there you go, but he's dead.
R.I.P.
Cats could survive the 40k universe.
Yeah, they've got cats with the Eldar, they got cyber cats.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Speaking of cats, Everyday Cartographer has asked, how likely is it that the fallen Primarchs are going to be reborn through Iniad, granting them a second chance at life? Maybe Conrad Kurz, who could have turned out very differently if he grew up elsewhere. If you bring, so let's say Kurz is dead, and you bring him back with Iniad, the Eldari god of rebirth, of death?
Death and rebirth.
Do you think they'd still have their memories from when they were alive back then?
I think it would be just like the clone Fulgrim, yes.
Interesting. Because if they come back and they're like a completely different person, Primarch, I don't know. I don't think I'd like that.
Yeah.
Because you build up the whole heresy to give personality and epic battles and occurrences with that Primarch just to have them come back as somebody completely new.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those memories would retain, just for the fact that that's kind of how Space Marines are.
Yeah.
Where if they consume something, then they become.
It's here, eat yourself.
Maybe that's why the Red Thirst exists. Maybe it's like they want to drink the blood of the fallen, or just blood in general, because of the fact that they want to absorb all that previous knowledge.
Interesting. I mean, I could see Kurz, even if he does come back with amnesia or something like that, the dude has visions, so maybe the visions could remind him who he is.
Yeah.
But it'd be pretty cool to see a revived Kurz or a revived Sanguinius.
Yeah. Next question.
Mohammed Mir. Who has the best armor out of all the Primarchs?
Magnus the Red. He has titty horns.
Yeah. I always liked Lorgar's. It was sleek, basic, but still looked cool.
Yeah.
That or Alfarius's. At least the Horus Heresy sculpt. Because in a few of like the artworks, it just looks basic, like regular Space Marine armor.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to say which one had the best, but like just by looking.
By looking at it, yeah. Because I mean, if you're looking at more protection, I guess Perturabo, because he basically had like Terminator armor.
Yeah. Next question comes from Tyler Flynn. Has there ever been a Guardsman Civil War? Yeah, whenever there's a revolt. Usually it's like the heretical guardsmen versus the planetary defense force or whatever regiment comes in to pacify the planet. So yes, it happens all the time. Next question. This will be the last question. What do you got?
This one's by El Chapo. Could the Emperor's spirit be transferred into an Eldari spirit stone, then transferred back into a new body to bring him back to humanity? Either via test tube baby with the Emperor's own DNA, a clone, or something like that. You would have to ignore the consequences of leaving the Golden Throne unattended, though.
Even if we ignore that, I don't think that the Spirit Stone can accept any other psychic thing other than Eldar.
And if you're thinking about it in a term of like a Spirit Stone usually holds one spirit. The Emperor was created by how many shamans?
Oh yeah, 1,000.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if a stone itself can hold that much. Maybe you'd need a whole infinity circuit to hold the Emperor's spirit.
Yeah, it's a big load.
It is.
Yeah.
He's been edging for weeks.
Yeah, for 10,000 years.
For 10,000 years, yeah.
And those are the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. If we didn't get to your question, ask us again. Mm-hmm. If not, tomorrow's video or the previous video, we might get to it.
All right. As always, this has been The Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.